Hey, what are you reading?
I'm reading my U.S. history textbook. We're learning about the three industrial revolutions. The first saw agricultural economies give way to manufacturing. The second brought electricity-fueled mass production. And the third led to the large-scale computerization of technologies.
Oh, what about the fourth industrial revolution?
Oh, that's not in my book. What about it?
We are currently on the verge of one of the greatest technological revolutions of our time. Smart factories where machines control all the decision making and the entire production line are just decades away. The rise of artificial intelligence and autonomous vehicles and countless other new technologies will change every industry and our very ways of life.
The biggest challenge to workers in countries like mine today is technology. And the biggest challenge for your new president, when we think about how we're going to employ more people here, is going to be also technology, because artificial intelligence is here and it is accelerating.
The best thing that automation does is it raises our standard of living. It reduces the costs of producing the goods and services that we like to buy. And so if those costs come down, the prices of those products come down, and then our incomes go further and our standard of living rises. And if you look at the improvements in our standards of living over the last couple hundred years, a lot of it was driven by automation and productivity growth.
However, there are also many concerns about the potential dangers of automation. A report by the Obama administration found that by 2030, up to 83% of low-skilled workers could be susceptible to having their jobs automated. A report by the McKinsey Institute warned that 73 million U.S. workers could lose their jobs in the same time period.
Probably what's going to happen when you look at the estimates, including estimates that ITIF has done, it's going to have a bigger impact on low-skill jobs that are more routinized. So imagine cashiers at a store, toll takers, jobs like that. It's probably not going to have very much effect on higher skill, more complex knowledge jobs. You're not going to go to Google and say, Google, do I have cancer? You're going to go to your doctor. So it's probably going to have a shift in terms of, there's a lot of jobs in the U.S. economy that are frankly pretty low skill, low wage, not very pleasant. And so I think automation could actually be a big improvement for a lot of people's lives.
Even so, there's only so much demand for high-skilled jobs like doctors, and not everyone can get a higher education. The biggest issue today is that without proper retraining, millions of the workers who get displaced won't be the ones getting the new jobs.
Another huge issue is social inequality. Low-paying jobs in retail, food service, manufacturing, and transportation will be the ones automated first.
What's worse, even as productivity has soared in the past 40 years, the slice of the pie workers get in wages has barely budged. Thus, even if automation increases production efficiency, many economists predict those benefits will mostly pad the pockets of top earners and investors of AI. Automation is the most important issue for the 2020 election because of how underprepared we are to face it, largely due to lack of political discussion. It receives minimal airtime and attention, causing only 1/3 of Americans to view it as a serious threat. However, one candidate has been pushing to get automation the major issue status it deserves. Tech executive Andrew Yang has centered his platform on it, pushing for a universal basic income of $1,000 a month to provide a safety net for the millions of displaced workers.
Many other solutions are possible, but none have been discussed much this campaign season.
I think we ought to help workers set up what they call lifelong learning accounts. So even if you don't qualify for a Pell Grant because your income might be too high, these are other accounts that you've piled up money in that you can then use if you need to retrain, go to a community college to retrain. I think there's things government can do, less in the role of just giving people money and more in helping them retrain for whatever's available. One final thing that I'll mention, there's something called wage insurance that the government has provided. Say you have a $20 an hour job. Automation eliminates that job, and you can only find a $10 an hour a job now at, say, Walmart or something like that. Maybe the government would make up part of the loss, part of the $10 loss for at least a couple of years to give you a stronger incentive to take that job even though the wage is considerably lower than what you were earning before.
So why aren't more people talking about automation?
Because it's not a sexy topic. There's a set of topics that I think sound good on the campaign trail and that excite people. Talking about free healthcare, talking about free education. These are all issues that play better on TV, excite people more. Having a sensible policy conversation about automation and displacement, it would get dry and technical and in the weeds pretty quickly, if it's sensible at all. And it's just not high enough on people's priority lists. It doesn't play as well as some of these other topics.
As we move forward and technologically advance as a society, it's true that automation will improve a lot of aspects of our lives. But we also need effective policy action, and we need it now to ensure that millions of Americans don't fall between the cracks.